Okay, hello fifth graders, and if I have some people who aren't fifth graders watching, I'm glad to have you. Please stay tuned. You're going to learn some fifth grade math. If you're not in fifth grade, then you'll be ahead of the game. And if you're helping a brother or sister, they might need your help. So please stay tuned. I'm glad you're here. So my name is Serena White, and I now work in district office, but I have a lot of years of experience teaching math, over 10 in all different grades. So I am going to be sharing with you a math lesson probably today and tomorrow, and then a lot of your classroom teachers are going to be taking over because I want to let them come and join this and have a great time doing these lessons. Now, in fifth grade math, I happen to know right where you guys are. Do you know why I know right where you guys are? Because I have a fifth grader, and he's going to be a co-teacher with me on tomorrow's lesson. So you might want to tune in to that lesson. Kind of excited about that. But what we're going to do today is we're going to continue with the learning in where you are in your classrooms. And you are, we're going to come back to that. You have been learning about a lot of different things. You've spent a lot of time this past year on fractions, on numbers in base 10, on decimals, and you've done a lot of measurement things and even geometry, volume, and so forth. And now you're moving into something that's really exciting. I promise it is. It's called the coordinate plane. Okay? Now, and notice here I have coordinate plane quadrant 1. Now that's because I'm an old math teacher. I am older, but I want you to know that this is not the entire quadrant plane. I will actually show you a picture of the entire quadrant plane. This is one picture, this is one part of it. However, I will say it is the most used part of the quadrant plane. And whenever you're seeing, because a lot of you guys are seeing graphs on TV, they're talking about the COVID-19 virus and its spread. All of those graphs are typically in quadrant 1 because a lot of our lives live in quadrant 1. So it is the most important quadrant. So what you're learning is very important. So, but this is a picture of the whole coordinate plane. And when you're in 6th grade, you will master this. You will become the master of that. So just so you know what's coming, and so you have the full picture. So you say, well, wait, how do those relate? What I did, the quadrant 1 is this part right here. So it's like that little part is cut out. And this is erased. Y'all got it? Okay. So now we're going to move on. So the first thing that you have to know are the important parts of a coordinate grid. Now I have some labeled here, but I want to emphasize what they are because you must have this down moving forward, and it's essential in moving into every area in every math class that you take from now on. So the first thing that you learn is that the x-axis is this line that's at the bottom. And it goes across, and students, do y'all know something that goes across? Do you know what it's called? What that's called? We don't just say across, we say what? Horizontal. So you might want to write down if you've got something to write with. And I know my handwriting's bad. A lot of you could help me, but I'm old. So anyway, horizontal. It goes across. You know a good way to remember that is that when you see the horizon, if you ever see the sun set or rise, or those of you who have seen across a field or at the beach, that's the horizon, and it goes across. Okay? The next thing that is important, so that is the x-axis, and that is this line right here. I know I'm drawing over it, and I'm going to circle that. Okay, now I'm going to change my color because we're going to talk about the other axis. Do you see the other axis? It's already labeled up here. It is the y-axis, and it goes from this point right here straight up. It actually continues down, but again, we're only talking about quadrant 1. So we just got through talking about the x-axis, and now we're going to talk about the y-axis. Again, this is this line that goes straight up from this point right here that we're going to talk about in a minute, but it goes straight up all along here. Okay, and just to label it again, this one that goes across here, and I'm going to make it red, is the x-axis. Okay, now one thing I told you a minute ago is that the x-axis, we don't just say across because we have better vocabulary than that. We say horizontal, we move horizontally. Instead of just saying up and down, what's another word? Think. You might, if you've got someone there in your house, what would you say instead of going, if something's going up, it is vertical, okay? So the word that we would put here is vertical. Now, and if you were in my classroom, I made you use these words, okay? And I'm sure your teachers do the same thing. Now we're going to talk about one of the most important point that is on this graph. And I already have it labeled here, but it's called the origin. And it is right here, but that is this point right here. It is the origin. Notice it has 0, 0 here. We're going to talk about what that means in a little bit, but the origin is essential to understand because it is where the x and the y axes intersect, and it is where you begin everything. It's where you begin your graphing. It's where every graph begins. So those are the important parts of the quadrant 1 coordinate grid. So let's move on to graphing ordered pairs in this coordinate grid. So this is important because you need to know that an ordered pair, you notice I've got some down here. There's a number, comma, number in parentheses. Well, what does that mean? Well, this is what it means. It's an x coordinate, comma, y coordinate. And what you do is it tells you how you move horizontally, and then the next number tells you how you move vertically. It's always the same. That will never change. So let's try this. So we have point A, and it says that its ordered pair is 2, 3. So 2 tells me my horizontal direction. So where do I start? Do you guys remember? I start at the origin. Always start right here at the origin. So that's not my point. That's where I'm starting. I just wanted to label it for you guys. Then I'm going to move horizontally 2. So I do move across 2, and then I move 3 vertically. So I move 1, 2, 3, and that is where point A is located. Okay, y'all got it? Let's try point B. So B is 4, 1. So where do I start? The origin. So I start here at the origin and I move horizontally 4. So I move over to 4 and vertically 1. And that I label point B. So now I've labeled these 2 points. And I want you in your mind right now to try C. See if you can figure out where it is before I start. Okay, so I'm going to start where? I'm going to start at the origin and I move horizontally 5 and vertically 5. And so I am at the point right here at the edge, and that is point C. C. So we have labeled 3 of these points. Now I get to some that can be a little confusing, okay? I have point D, and it says 0, 1. So I start here at the origin, because that's where I always start, but it says 0. So you're thinking, well, what do I do? Well, it says 0, so it means I move 0 places horizontally. So I stay there on the horizontal axis. Then it says 1. So I stay here and then I move vertically 1. So that is point D. Ooh, that's a little strange, isn't it? Look at that. Notice, is it okay to have a point on an axis? Yes, it is, and you should have some. So then I look at point E. Okay, I start at my origin. I move horizontally 1 space, but then I move vertically 0 spaces. So this is point E. Okay, do you see the difference? Now, point F. So I start at the origin, but it says 0, so I don't move horizontally, but then it says 0 again. So I what? I don't move vertically. So this is 0, 0, which is point F. So we have just successfully labeled our first grouping of ordered pairs. Congratulations. Now we're going to try this. Oh, goodness. Miss White threw you a curveball here. Let's see if y'all can do it. I know you can, right? We're going to do it together. So I'm going to begin with this 0, 4, and 0, 1. So 0 tells me I don't go anywhere, but I move up 4, vertically 4. And then 0, 1 says I do not move horizontally, but I move vertically 1. Then it tells me something. It says connect. So we're going to connect these. Okay. Everybody got that? Now I have 2, 4, and 2, 1. So that means that I start at the origin, because I always start at the origin, and I move horizontally 2. And the first one is 2, 4, so I move vertically 4. Then 2, 1, so I move horizontally 2, vertically 1. And then it says connect. So what do? I connect those two. So I've done this, and I've done this. I wonder what we're making. Now I look, oh, Miss White. If you were a student in my classroom that said, Miss White, what are you doing that to us? You're giving us decimals or fractions. You know we don't like those. It'll be okay, I promise. So this says 0 and 2.5. I know that now I have a bunch of smart 5th graders who've been working with fractions all year. And you know that 2.5 is the same as what? 2.5, right? So 0, so I don't move horizontally, but I move vertically 2.5, which would be approximately right here. Everybody understand that? Does that make sense now? I bet you can do the next one. So let's see. I start at the origin. I move horizontally 2. I move vertically 2.5. And then it says I connect. Well, what do y'all see? I hope you see an H, if my drawing's good enough. Let's go on to the next one. So the next one says 3, 1, 3, 4. So I move horizontally 3, vertically 1, then 3, 4. I start at the origin, I move horizontally 3, vertically 4, and then it says connect, so I connect. What do you think that is? Probably an I. I think y'all might be figuring it out. So then I have 4, 4, and 4, 0. So I start here. And I go, well, that should have been, I apologize, guys. That should have been 4, 1. So I go horizontally 4, vertically 4, and then horizontally 4, vertically 1. I connect them. Am I drawing right? And then at 4, 0, it says do what? Put a large dot, which is a large point. And so what have I told you guys? Hi. Okay, so hopefully this makes sense to you guys now. So the big things, let's review. Here is our x-axis. Here is our y-axis. This is horizontal. The y-axis is vertical. The origin is 0, 0, and that is where we always start. Our ordered pairs are x-coordinate, comma, y-coordinate. Horizontal, comma, vertical. If you follow these, you'll have no trouble. Your teachers will probably be asking you to do more and more of these through your assignments in Google Classroom. So I think that you guys can all master it now. Now, as far as our standard, the one thing that what we have done today is we've talked about perpendicular parallel lines, defined a coordinate system, the intersection of the lines of the origin. We're not going to get into the rest of that. A lot of this you've done, but we were running out of time. Last thing I want to tell you guys is thank you. Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you learned something today. Tomorrow, we're going to extend this lesson. So not only are we going to talk about what we learned, but we're going to talk about what this represents in real life. The other thing I wanted to remind you guys always is to be safe right now. As you know, we're closed because of the COVID-19 virus. So make sure you're washing your hands. If you leave your house, you're wearing a mask and you're keeping 6 feet away from others, okay? We're also still under our stay-at-home order, so unless we have to leave our house, we shouldn't be leaving our house. So please be safe so that you're taking care of you and those in your household. I hope you'll have a great day, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.